Is Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland. Welcome, sir.
It's good to be with you.
What is your response, sir, to hearing the crowds cheer like that for voter ID laws? Because that line about voter fraud got a bigger response even than her line trashing the Affordable Care Act.
First of all, Martin, I believe that voting is a right, and it's something that is afforded to all of our citizens, and we should not be doing anything to prevent people from voting. And I think the Arizona law is what it's about. And of course, Nikki Haley is talking about the same thing, an effort to not stomp out voter fraud like they claim they're doing, but it's an effort to make sure that there are tremendous hurdles that in front of voters to jump over and it basically stops them from doing what citizens have a right to do already.
But Congressman, that was the longest applause of anyone on the day she was speaking, on the basis that she was proudly promoting voter ID.
Well, we know, Martin, that the Republicans know that America is not buying what they are selling. And so what they've decided to do is to make sure that they block the person doing the buying. And that's basically what this is all about. And they know good and well that the motor voter law that we're talking about here, the national law that trumps the Arizona law, clearly the intent of the Congress was to make it easier for the voter to be able to vote. And they are making it harder. When you can simply send in a postcard and where under the penalty of perjury you say that you are a citizen and you're qualified to vote, then they want to put something on top of that to then say that you have to produce all of these documents to show that you're a citizen of the United States. Martin, come on. I mean, that's just another way of blocking people from voting. And I'll tell you, I'm so glad that Nancy Pelosi has appointed a committee, a task force, to address this issue.
Right.
And hopefully we'll be able to come up with some solutions. Because the thing that we've got to do, and I thank you so much for bringing this up, Martin, we've got to have pushback against these things. These kinds of laws and these kinds of efforts, because they are not going to stop. Because they can see that this is their only way to possibly win elections.
Well, Congressman, to your point, and just to prove that we're not here spouting nonsense, but it's on the basis of fact, let me show you what Governor Haley's State Elections Commission discovered last year when it looked at supposed instances of, quotes, dead people voting. Of 207 suspected votes it examined, about half were the result of clerical error. For instance, John Smith Jr. votes, but a poll worker marks him as John Smith Sr. The second most cited reason was error on the part of the state's DMV. The only dead voters were 3 people who voted by absentee ballot but then died before the election. In other words, sir, where is the voter fraud that Governor Haley is talking about?
I think almost...
It's non-existent.
It's non-existent. And, Martin, if you look at all of these states that have put forth laws to make it harder for people to vote, mainly through voter ID, we see just a lack of any kind of fraud taking place that they're supposed to be trying to stomp out or trying to prevent. And clearly, Martin, this is unpatriotic. I mean, folks get up and they salute the flag and sing the national anthem, but at the same time, they turn around and try to take the most basic right that every citizen has, and that is the right to vote. And I think it's very, very sad and very unpatriotic.
Can I finish, sir, by referring you to another event at CPAC, in addition to Nikki Haley? There was a CPAC panel on race. An attendee said some very controversial things. For instance, that slave owners provided slaves, quotes, food and shelter, and that's nothing to apologize for. What was your response, particularly as the GOP now says it must engage with African-American voters to a comment like that?
I think the GOP has made it very clear, and through comments like that, and I realize it was only one person, but I know that there are others that feel the same way. I think they've shown that why it is that it's very difficult, if not impossible, for them to attract African Americans, Hispanic, and other voters, minority voters, to vote for their candidates. Nobody wants to vote for a party that is against them and talks about them like that. Now, let me say this. Again, I understand that may have been one person, but it seems to me, Martin, that you would have had somebody at the leadership of that CPAC convention, some of our politicians that spoke, Rand Paul and others,
Sure,
should have gotten up there and said, wait a minute, we do not stand for that, and we're not going for that, and we have a major problem, and that person should not have been a part of what we're doing. Now, maybe you've heard it, but I haven't heard anybody say that yet. And so it's quite insulting and quite unfortunate. And we have no room for that in today's society. Diversity is our promise and not our problem.
Congressman Elijah Cummings, as ever, sir, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up.